Yo, good morning, guys. I thought it would be easier to make a video and talk about the deal that I've been mentioning. So, basically, the house that I've been following up with for let's see, since the end of 2022. Went and looked at it with the contractor, as I think I mentioned before, and then, ran numbers with him, and really he ran numbers because I don't know how to do it, and he's the contractor with experience of knowing what it costs to work on things. Basically, the house is worth about 310 to 315,000 in excellent condition, like fixed up really nice. Um, and the seller is very firm on his price at 160,000, right? So, we made an offer at 120,000, and he was like, I can't do it. It'd be better for me to fix it up and like try to sell it myself. And so I pushed and was like, come on, man, 120. And he was like, no. It's like 140 eventually. I asked him that. He was like, no. So he was just like, I have to have 160. I've got an offer at 160 that I'm going to get in writing on Monday with a 45-day close. And I was like, yeah. So the win I got was, I guess, several wins. First, the contractor that I've been working with, I've been meaning to do a deal with him, and so finding out that there's some way, like that he's seeing him help out and be willing to do a deal with me is really cool, and I'm excited to be able to do that in the future. So, anyways, he went and looked at it with me and ran numbers with me, and it's like, yeah, man, like we can do a deal together. And so I'm really excited about that. I've been trying to do a deal with him for about a year now, and but what was really encouraging was I actually called my boss about the deal. I was like, hey, this is the situation, and it needs about $100,000 worth of work according to this guy. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a correct quote. He was like, who was it? And it was like Ben Johnson. He said, okay, 100,000 easy. Like, he knows that guy knows what he's doing, and so he's got a good reputation. But anyways, we talked about the deal, and I was just like, man, I really wanted to do this deal, like do my next deal and make like 20 or 30,000 because I need to pay off debt, and like I needed this to work. He was like, don't worry, the deals are going to come. And he just encouraged me in like 4 different fronts, and I was really blessed by that, because he was like, he listened to the deal and he was like, man, like I'm in a situation right now with a lot of the projects I'm doing because I did basically what he said was deals like this where you pay too much and you lose money because of it. And he's like, it just caused unbelievable amount of stress, and like, so he just very strongly warned me against doing a deal if the guy wasn't able to come to our price. And he's like, yeah, I feel like that would be very unwise to do. And I was like, man, I feel it's such fathered by the Father through this guy, and very encouraged. And then I was like, yeah, and I'm thinking about maybe moving out of my house and renting it out fully now that it's almost done being renovated, and instead of trying to get another roommate once my friend moves out in a month or so, just renting out the whole unit. And he was like, I wouldn't do that either, because if you stay in your primary residence for 2 years, you basically are exempt from paying taxes when you sell the place, whenever you sell the place. And he was like, I would rather have you stick it out and be there another year, and then whenever you sell it down the line, you've not got that tax burden. I was like, man, that's such good advice. So anyways, whether I do that or not, I don't know yet. We'll see. But anyways, he really encouraged me with that, and he gave me an idea of like what to do with Ben Johnson. So I told him how Ben Johnson, my contractor, would do a 50-50 deal with me, but he's like, his guidelines are super strict, which is why he's so successful. He's like, I don't do a single real estate deal that I don't make $40,000 on. That's my floor, is I have to make 40,000 or more. I'm like, man, if we were going to do a deal 50-50, I would have to bring a deal that we make 80 grand on for it to be a 50-50 deal. And I told my boss that, and he was like, man, those are really hard to find. And so he's like, what you could do is you could find a deal where maybe you make 60,000 on, or maybe 50,000, and you say, hey, Ben, like, here's what we could do. What if you were to take like 35,000, and I'll just take whatever beyond that, whether that's 10 grand, whether that's 15 or whatever. It's way less than 50%, but just so I can get the experience. And I think that's a brilliant idea. Because part of something is a whole lot better than all of nothing. So, and getting the experience would be really great. So that was a really good idea. And what's cool is I talked with my boss, and I'm really encouraged by the fact that he's been so desirous to like help me and like train me and like, and, help me out in this process. And so that was encouraging. And the other cool thing was the fact that like my job as an acquisitions manager, getting properties under contract for us to sell to other investors, he was like, you could buy some property from us, like from our company. And I was like, that would be so cool, because I can easily find a deal like the one he described that I could do with Ben. So that was encouraging as well. And I told him, I was like, these are my goals for real estate. And we talked about this whole framework of like in business, it's like there's this framework from Ryan Pineda called Make, Manage, Multiply. And basically the idea is that he's like, until you can make like $250,000 a year with one skill, he's like, you really are not an expert at it. It's like, that's kind of a benchmark that kind of wealthy people use, like at least that guy does. He's like, once you do that, he's like, you have skill to bring like really high value skill, and you can use that and build a business around that and stuff like that. And so I've kind of had a loose goal of like aiming for that. And my boss is like, hey, my boss's goal is for me to gross $100,000 at my job this year, which is really, really cool. I've never made that much money in my life. I don't think I've ever made more than like 30,000 in a year, but I have it on my whiteboard as a goal. And he was like, if I were you, John, I would focus on one thing and get really, really good at it. And he's like, if I were you, I would make a goal of making 100,000 at your job this year, and doing like, just starting with one deal. Because I was like, I want to do 4 at least. And he was like, just do that and then get really good and get, make 100,000 at your job. And then, which is possible at my job, which is just such a blessing. But anyways, I just felt so encouraged, you guys, and so like fathered and so, like mentored and warned, honestly, about this deal of like, if you can't buy it for the right price, you will lose money. And like, I can't afford to lose money. Some people can, actually. That's actually a thing. Like, they have disposable capital that they can risk, and that's part of investing, which we'll go over in some of the courses that are going to be coming up soon. But I just wanted to share that. Like, I was so encouraged, just the whole experience. And I also feel very much of a frontier, if that makes sense, of like an area that I just feel totally unprepared or uncomfortable in. And that's quoting and figuring out, like, underwriting a real estate deal to figure out what are the costs. Like, I have no idea how to do that. I have no idea how to underwrite a deal and like actually be confident on the numbers yet, which is basically the entire business. So I have just some different skills that I need to gain, and not just avoid and have somebody else do, which is part of why you have partnerships, because you have people with different strengths and weaknesses. But I need to not just rely on other people's skills, instead of like developing my own in the long run. So for the long-term game of real estate, I really need to learn how to run numbers for, rehab, renovation costs and stuff. So anyways, I hope this was inspiring or encouraging or insightful to you guys. It certainly has been for the past couple days here. But long story short, or short story long, this seller, I think I'm gonna have to just let the deal go. But I was encouraged by my boss. He's like, the deals are going to come. Don't worry. But very challenged to walk with wisdom. So unless the guy's able to come to my price, which I'm pretty confident he won't, I'm just going to move on. But also I'm going to be like, hey, this is where I could be. And if anything changes, let me know. And maybe he'll get back in touch. So be encouraged. Shabbat Shalom to everybody here. And I hope that you guys are really enjoying the community and enjoyed the meeting this past week. I've been trying to figure out how to get the recording available for you guys to watch, so keep an eye out for that.